Well, good evening to you all. This is Emmanuel Kadri. You are welcome to another revision class, which hopefully would be the last revision class for the series. Today we are going to emphasize more on conditional branching in Python programming. And I just want you guys to hang on while we write it together. Here we go. Comparison operators in Python programming. Okay, so when you say comparison operators, there are operators that are used to compare one variable, to compare two operands or two or more operands. Okay, so that's what we call comparison operators. So for instance now, if you say x is less than y, okay, so this one is the operator there, less than, it shows that x is less than y. At least you understand what that means. Okay, so you can have x is greater than y. Okay, so it shows that the value of x is greater than y. Right, that is greater than for you. You use to compare two operands or more operands. Okay, so if you have x is, so this one is like this is less than, that symbol is for less than, this symbol is for greater than, and then if you have x is less than or equal to y, okay, so that means less than or equal to, and then if you have just be doing what they did not send it. Okay, so we have x is greater than or equal to, so that's greater than or equal to. All right, then if you have x is, please, when you are comparing, okay, there is a difference between x is equal to y and x is double equal to y. This double equal to signifies equality. There is a difference between equality and an assignment. Okay, in Python programming, single equal to is an assignment. Okay, please take note of that, which means if I want to assign a value to another value, then I can use single equal to achieve that. Okay, for instance, now if I want to say x is equal to 5, well, what I did here, okay, what I did here is I assigned the value 5 to x. So a single equal to stands for assignment, double equal to stands for equality. So when you put double equal to, you are telling Python programming that what is on the left is equal to what is on the right. But when you put single equal to, it means you are assigning the value on the right to the variable on the left. So which means that henceforth, Python will begin to see x as 5 because you have mentioned x is equal to 5. You understand it? And so which means you assign the value 5 into the variable x. So when the equality is single, it stands for assignment. But when the equality is double, it stands for equality. So I believe you get that point. You get the difference between the two, right? Hope you got the difference. Am I communicating?
Yes.
Okay, okay, please. So let me know. Let me just know that you are with me. Okay, and if you're not getting me,
Yes, sir.
yeah, if you're not getting me, please let me know that you didn't get me so that I can come again. You understand? So I don't want you to manage to follow. Just let the class be lively, let the class be active. So for me, occasionally I'll be asking you, are you with me? So that I just need a quick response. All right, so we have all of this, and then so x is equal to 5. This one stands for assignment. It's an assignment statement. Okay, and so that's how everything goes. I'm going to remove this because it's not a comparison operator. I'm actually currently dealing with comparison operators, not an assignment operator. Okay, so well, are there other comparison operators that I'm not talking about yet? Okay, I think there is only one left. Yeah, I just remember, which is not equal to. So when you say x is not equal to y, okay, so this one stands for not equal to. There is somebody here whose mic is on. Can you just mute your mic until the next time I need
Okay,
you to talk?
okay.
All right. Okay, so this one means not equal to. So these are comparison operators in Python programming. Okay, so we use them to compare two operands, and then so that we can do one or two things with them after the comparison. Why do we really need this comparison? We need them when we, most of the time, we need them is when we want to use the if statements. The if statements. All right. So I'm going to open a new tab, and then on this tab we're going to be talking about the if statements. If statements. All right. So now, if statement is like, okay, it is a statement that provides condition. So it's like, okay, if something like this is something like this, so do this for me. So we use the if statement to provide condition in Python programming, so that when the condition is met, whatever is it that we ask the program to do, it will do it. When the condition is not met, we may provide alternative conditions. And then when the alternative condition is met, you understand, then the program will also run. Then just follow me as you go. So an example is that if I say something like this, okay, let me just say x is equal to 10. If I say x is equal to 10, all right, so I may just say, okay, fine, provided that, let me just say if x is less than, if x is less than 11, okay, so now I've just provided a condition that, okay, if x is less than 11, all right, you put a column, very important. So by the time you put the column, Python already knows that the next command is working with the if statement. So it will automatically indent it, which means it will automatically put a space here by itself, so that anything you code from this point, it is working for this if statement. So that whatever is it that you put here from this point works for the if statement. Okay? If you do not put the thing on that indent, Python will believe that, okay, you are writing a different statement entirely that does not have any business to do with the if statement. But as far as the next line that you want to write has business with the if statement, then you must put it on the next, it must be on that indent. And for the indentation to happen, it is very mandatory that you put a column here. So following the column, Python will already know that the next command you want to write works for that previous statement. So now, the command that what we are having now, it's meant to work for the if statement, okay? So working for the if statement now, you say if x is less than 11, let's say print I am less than 11, which means you are telling Python knows, how will I explain this? Okay, which means that you have told Python that provided that this condition is true, provided that this particular condition is true, then do this thing for me. Okay? Now that reminds me, let me go back to the former page. You can use the print statements to determine whether a condition is true or not. All right? You can use the print statements to determine whether a condition is true or not. So using the print statements to determine the truth of conditions. Okay, so we want to see how we can use the print statement to determine whether a particular condition is true or not. All right. So let me just do a couple of examples. If we have something like this, let's say x is equal to 5, and then if I say if I say x is equal to 5, for instance, I can say print. If I say print x is less than 10, okay? If I say print x is less than 10, let's see what's going to happen. By the time you run this program, I'm going to, let me just lock up all these ones. Bam, bam, bam. Okay, so if I say x is equal to 5, print x, by the time you run it, why is this thing taking forever now? All right, so if I say x is equal to 5 and I say print x less than 10, what did you notice here? What did you notice here? I hope you guys are not sleeping.
It returned true.
Yes, it returned true because x is truly less than 10. So you can use the print statements to determine the truth of conditions. Okay, so just say true. If I come here and I say, all right, if I say x is, if I say print x is greater than, if I say print x is greater than 5, if I run it, it will tell me false because x is not greater than 5. All right, it will tell me false for the second condition. This site doesn't usually get slow like this. Why is it happening like this these days? Maybe more people are getting to know this thing and the server is getting fuller and fuller every day. Oh, this thing is taking forever. All right, so it's false, okay? Because x is not greater than 5, x is only equal to 5, which means you have assigned the value 5 to x, so x is now 5. So, but if we say print x is double equal to 5, which means x is equal to 5, okay? If you run the program, you will see that it will be true. That's true. If you say print x is not equal to 5, x is not equal to 5, by the time you run the program, it says it is false. All right, because x is actually equal to 5. So it will tell you that for you to say x is not equal to 5, then that is false. This symbol means not equal to. All right, so what if I say print What if I say print x is greater than or equal to 5? Class, before I run the program, you can tell me whether it is true or false. Can you tell me whether it is true or false? Can anybody try?
The first one is false.
No. Though I'm talking about line number 17. I have not run it yet. But by the time I run it, what answer do you expect me to get? What do you expect Python to return?
It's true, sir. True.
It is true. You mean it is true that x is greater than or equal to 5?
Yeah, it is true.
Yes.
True.
Okay. Well, you are right. Because of that
No,
presence
sir,
of
not true.
equality. Because of the presence of equality.
Okay,
So
it's equal to.
yes, it says it's greater than or equal to 5, which is true. There are two conditions
It's
here.
two conditions.
And so when one of them is correct, then it will be true. This one is actually false. X is not greater than 5. But because of that
Okay, it's not
equality, x is equal to 5. So because one of them is true, then it will work. You understand? So what if I put something like this? Y is equal to 10. And then,
print.
okay, please, if I even say print x is less than or equal to 5, so what do you think I'm going to get here?
It's still true.
It's still true, right?
It's still true.
It's still true. It's still true because less than may not be correct, but equal to is correct. So, so it will still return true, obviously. Okay, so why it is still thinking about the answer? Okay, true. All right, so now, what if I do something like this? I've said x is equal to 5 and y equals to 10 here. So what if I do something like print, what if I say print x is less than 10 or y is greater than 5. What do you think I'm going to get as the result? The or in Python programming, okay, compares two sides, and if any of the two sides is correct, it will return true.
The answer is
It can only return false if none of the two sides are correct. But if at least one of the two sides is correct, it will work.
in this case the two sides are correct. The two sides are correct and it will return true.
It will return true, yes.
Why?
If one or the two sides are correct, it will return true. But if only one is correct, it will still return true. It will only return false if none of the two sides are correct. I believe you people always jot. You always jot when you are attending the class. You always jot important points so you don't forget. It's very important. Some things you might think you will never forget, but you just still find out that you still forgot it. So that's where jotting is necessary. Okay, yes, this will return true because as a matter of fact, both sides are correct. So line 20 will definitely return true. All right, so while we are waiting for that anyways, let's just continue. When you say x, what if I say x is, late comma. What if I say x is less than 10 or y is less than 5? What do you think is going to be the result here?
It's true because one of the conditions is true.
Yes, it's true because one of the
It's true,
conditions
sir.
is true.
True, sir.
Okay, because one of the conditions is true. It can only be
One of the
false when the
conditions,
two of them are false. Okay, so what if we say print x is greater than 10 or y is less than 5? X is greater than 10 or y is less than 5. What am I going to get from here?
False. False. Both of
I'm
them
going
are
to get
false.
false because both of
it's
them are
false.
false.
False. The two conditions
The
are
two conditions are false. But assuming at least one of them is true, then the result is going to return true. But because the two conditions are totally false, then it's going to return false. All right. So that is the difference between or and. But if it was and, if you just say x is less than 10 and y is greater than 5. You see, this and of a thing, it only works under one condition. It only returns true under one condition. The condition is that both sides must be true.
both sides.
If one of the two sides is not true, then the two of them will be taken as false. It's at one if the condition is that the two of them must be true. Period. If that is not the case, then it will not work. All right. So is x truly less than 10? Yes. But is y truly greater than 10? They are greater than 5? Yes. If you run this one now, it will return true. So let's see how many results. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So let's see. Let's run it again. And so we are expecting to get that verified on the result number 10, which is like the last one, anyway. So the last one, which is true. Okay, good. So this one that we just did, second to the last, it returned false. It returned false because both conditions were actually false. All right, so yeah, that's how it works. Now that you have gotten the logic, okay, so we don't need to waste more time. Let me just do only one more example for the and, just for clarity. X, if I say x is less than 10 and y is less than 5. X is truly less than 10, but because y is not less than 5, from what we have here, x is truly less than 10, but y is not less than 5.
So come on, false.
So as a result
False.
of that, the answer will be false.
False.
So running the program, we see
Yeah.
false. So that's it. So now that you have had a very good understanding of how these things work, of how all this conditional branching work, then you'll be able to work very well with the if statements. All right? So let me just put it as a short note here. That's notes that and like when you use or, the or operator returns true. It returns true if at least one of its side is true. That is, one of the conditions is true. Okay? So that is for the or. And then just put it this way. Okay, so the next one, we have this, the and operator only returns true when both sides are when both sides are true or both conditions are true. Okay. Otherwise, it will return false. Okay, so just a reminder so you don't forget. Let me put it this way. Okay, so I think that's okay that way. All right, so with all of this, please, for those who are just joining the class, when we use comparison operators in Python to compare two sides or to compare two conditions, okay, or to compare two operands, and then make Python to do something based on the comparison. So, but there are symbols that we use for comparison. The same symbols we use in mathematics to compare. Those are to compare two values. The same we use in Python programming to compare two values. I think the only difference is this not equal to, the symbol, and also this equality. Okay? So please, less than, this is less than, this is greater than, this is less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. This is equality, which means if I put double equal to, I'm trying to tell Python that this side is equal to this side. It's different from single equality. Single equality is used for assignments. This one is single equality now. Okay? We actually use it for assignment of values, which means in this case now, 5 is assigned to x, so that from this point on, x will be seen as what? As 5. So there is a difference between assignment and equality. Equality means that you are trying to check whether something that is happening on one side is the same thing happening on the other side. That is equality. But assignment is that you are assigning a particular value to something. So here now we assign the value 10. We assign it to y. So that from now on, anytime Python sees y, okay, it sees it as what? As 10. Okay? So that is how it works. So there's a difference between assignments. There's a difference between assignment and equality. Equality is represented by double equal to, while assignment is represented by single equal to. Assignment is not a comparison operator, but double equal to is a comparison operator. Okay, you use it to compare two sides to see if those two sides are equal. All right, so that is that aspect. Now we move on to the second tab. I told you about if statements. Okay, so the if statement is used in Python programming to provide a condition that, okay, if this condition is true, then do this thing for me. If this condition is true, do this thing for me. So which means Python will do that thing. It will carry out that command provided that the condition is true. If the condition is not true, it will not execute the command. All right? And then how do you use if statements? You write the word if, if in small letter, if. After writing the word if in small letter, then the next thing is you provide the condition. Okay? So what is the condition here? The condition is that x is less than 11, which means if, provided that x is less than 11, okay, if you find out that x is less than 11, do this thing for me. That is what you just told Python programming to do. If you find out that x is less than 11, then do this thing for me. Okay? So if it is not less than 11, it will not do that thing. So when you put x less than 11 and you must always put this this column at the back. If you don't put the column, it will not work. Okay? So the moment you type x is less than 11 or whatever condition you put there, and you put this column, you press enter. As you press enter, it will go to the next line, but that next line will be indented. The indentation is a message to you, telling you that whatever is it that you want to write here, that thing is obeying the command of this if statement. That whatever is it that you want to put under here, the thing is working for this if statement. That is what it means. So if you If you don't want the thing you want to type next, if you don't want it to work for the if statement, all you need to do is to remove the indentation. By the time you remove the indentation, you are telling Python that, okay, anything I type here is not working for the if, it's working for itself. It's a new thing entirely. But as far as the thing has to work for the if, you must follow the indentation. So the indentation now says that any command that you put here now is working for the if statements. So you can now give it the command that you want. That, okay, fine, x is 10. That one is basic. X is 10. You are the one that type it yourself. Or something has brought it up, said that x is 10. So the next thing is that you are going to put in the condition that, okay, if x is less than 11, any condition you like you can put. Do this thing for me. Print I am less than 11. Print I am less than 11. So by the time you run the program now, let's see what is going to happen. If you run the program truly and truly, because this condition is true, okay, x is 10, so x is definitely less than 11. So because that condition is true, it will obey this command. And then obeying the command says I am less than, so that's that. Okay, now if I turn this thing the other way around, definitely you know that is false. You will see that Python will not return any results. That place will be left empty. It will not return any results. You see that it's empty. It's empty. No results is returned because that condition is not true. Okay, now this condition happens not to be true. What do we do in a case like this when the first condition given is not true? In Python programming, you are very free to provide alternative conditions. So, alternative condition is provided when the if condition is not true. That alternative condition is the else statements or the elif statements. Okay, you can stop exactly as this else. Else. You see, else statement does not need condition because it is like a final result, a final resolve that, okay, if this thing is not true, then do this thing for me. The else statement, please, you can take note of that. Anytime you are attending my class, always have Jota beside you so that when you notice any key points, you write it down so you don't forget. Okay? Because most of you don't go back to the video. You don't always have the time to go back to the video. So it is what you catch in the class that stays in your brain. So in that case, you should make sure that you should always jot so that you know that, okay, you don't miss out any important points. All right, so we proceed. The else statement is used to indicate a final resolution. A final resolution means that, okay, if the initial conditions are not true, okay, let us resolve to this. The else statement does not carry condition, unlike the if statements and the elif. The else statement doesn't carry condition, it's just else, which means if this thing is true, do this thing. Otherwise, if it is not true, okay, do what I am going to write now. All right, so which means you can say print, I am greater than 11. Or let me say I am not less than 11. Okay, so you say if x is greater than 11, do this. Otherwise, do this. So let's run the program. So by the time you run the program, you know the first condition, the condition I gave here now. You see, it says I am not less than 11 because this condition is not true. Since this condition is not true, it will not be able to execute this program. So instead of you letting the program to be blank, you understand, instead of you leaving it to be blank, you rather provide an alternative statement, which is the else statement, the final result. Okay, fine. If that initial condition is not true, then do this thing for me. And it will do exactly that for you, as you can see. Okay? Now, what if I want to provide multiple conditions? To provide multiple conditions, you use elif. You use elif. Okay? So this one provides a specific condition. All right, this one, okay, provides a final resolve if the initially specified, or if none of the conditions, if none of the initial conditions are true. That's what this one works for. It provides a final resolve if none of the initial conditions are true. Okay? So that's how it works. Please, you can, for those of you who do not know the platform that we are using for this code, we are temporarily using online-python.com, online-python.com. That's what we are using, online-python.com. So, all right then. So you have this. Okay. Now let's see if we want to provide multiple conditions. To provide multiple conditions now, I have to start from the wall, because the only thing that starts from the indentation is the condition, is the command that follows the condition. So, but if you want to type anything new, you start from the wall. So now you use elif. You use elif to provide alternative conditions. All right. So you can say, okay, elif x is so x is equal to 3. elif x is equal to 3. Okay, so you can say, okay, print I am equal to 3. Okay. All right, this is and you can have as many elif as you want. You can only have one if. You can only have one if and one else. But you can have as many elif as possible. You can have 10, 20 to provide alternative conditions. But you can only have one if and one else for this kind of build-up. Do you understand? For this kind of code block, you can only have one if and one else. But you can have multiple elif to provide different conditions. Okay? So, if I put another elif here, and I say elif x is elif x is less than or equal to less than or equal to 5. Let me just put anything. Remember, don't forget to put the column. Then you provide the command. Print maybe up to 5 or less. Okay, you can just have multiple elifs here. All right, so let's run this program. Now, to run this program, we obviously know that x is not greater than 11. We know that x is not equal to 3. So the thing that will be returned here is false, false. We know that x is not less than or equal to 5, which is also false. So we can manipulate the thing by saying, okay, if I put 3 here, okay, let me just put 3 there. And then by the time you run the program, well, it will tell you that I am equal to 3. Why? Because you provided the condition. The condition says if x is equal to 3, and I've changed this thing to 3. So definitely it's going to favor line 15, line 5, which says I am equal to 3. You get that? So if I put something like 4 here and I run the program, you see, if I put 4 here, the first condition is not met. the second condition is not met, but the third condition is met. So it is the command that follows the third condition that it will do. Okay, so by the time you run it now, please, if there is any part you don't understand, just unmute your mic and quickly let me know. So we have I may be up to 5, so which means it will just execute this particular command here, because that is where this one becomes true. Okay, so that's the only thing that is true among them. Now, if none of these three, this one is not correct, this one is not true, this one is not true, this one is also not true, then that is when it will resolve finally to this one. Okay, so let's say we put something like so we take it back to 10. Okay, if you take it back to 10, x, which is 10 now, is not greater than 11. So this one is false. Then x is not equal to 3. This one is false. X is actually not less than or equal to 5. So since all the three conditions mentioned earlier were not met, it will just come and resolve to this one and execute whatever you ask it to do from this part. Okay? So by the time you run the program, truly speaking, you see that it is the last one that we show, which says I am not less than 11. Okay? So let me just put something comic. Okay. The guy will like, okay, fine, all these conditions are not true. Why have you been wasting my time? So, all right, so this kind of one here, this one provides an alternative condition. It provides an alternative condition. It may be used as many times as needed. It may be used as many times as needed. All right? So that is what the work it does. That is the work of elif. Elif is derived from the word else if. Elif is derived from the word else if. Okay? So that is that aspect. That's just how these ones work. I believe you've gotten that. Now, the next lesson is the shorthand method of representing the if statements, like how you can represent it on a single line. That is what we want to do now. All right. Let me check if I've not skipped anything. You see mail else. Okay. Okay. All right, no problem. I think I'm still on track. I'm just checking if I've skipped anything so far. Okay. So you want to see how we can represent if statements on a single line and still make it work as expected. All right. So before I do that, I'm going to present one first, which is like a sample to see I'm going to present that one in the normal way. You see it in the normal way. All right. Then you can now use it on a single line and see whether we will still get the same results. Okay? All right, so let me just say age is equal to 50. Age is 50. And with age being 50, let's put it like with age being 50. So let's say, okay, if age is less than 60, print you are a young boy. Elif age is equal to 60. Print welcome to the club. Else age is greater than 60. Prince senior man. Okay, now you know we say age is 50, right? So if you run this program, what do you expect the results to be? Please, who can tell me? Sorry, I made a mistake here. I was just carried away.
You're a young boy. That's the best.
I made a mistake here. I told you earlier that else doesn't carry any condition. I was just typing. I think it's a fatigue. Okay. All right. So we have. What do you think I'm going to have as a result here after running the program?
So I think it means the first condition.
First condition, right? Okay. Which is true. It says you're a young boy. So by the time you run it,
Yes, sir. Age is less than 60.
yeah, it says you're a young boy, right? So if I change this value to something like 60 and I run it, expectedly the one in the middle is it say welcome to the club.
The second condition.
Yes,
The
and
second condition.
if I put something like 65, then you run it,
The senior man.
so that's it. Now, do you know that all these things I can combine them into a single line? I can say, I can just cut this one like this and say,
Hello, sir.
yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, can you? I didn't get the. Actually, I know this part before, but I was wondering that before the senior man will come up, do you need to? Would that mean that you are a young boy is false?
Yes, before this one will come, it means that this one is not true. So, sorry, it means this
That,
condition is not true. The condition, not the result,
uh,
not the command.
yeah.
The condition is not true because we know when I put 65 and I said age is less than 60, and of course the report says age is 65, and now age is less than 50, which means it's false because it's not less than 60. So that's why this command will not run.
So to go to the
To
second
now
line,
go to the next condition and check, is the age equal to 60? That is the age exactly
Yes, sir.
equal to 60, which is still not true because age here is 65. So that is why this one will not run.
final resolution.
It will now go to the final resolution exactly. That okay, since these two did not work, please, what should I do next? This one will now tell it what you should do next. Okay, so but this else doesn't always carry condition. It just goes straight. So do you understand it that way?
Yeah, I get it, sir.
All right, good. So now, if I want to put all these things into a single line, well, I can do that. What I will do is that, please just watch this system. Watch this system. If you don't watch it, you could miss it out. Okay? To do this kind of thing, you specify condition first, the initial condition first. You say, do this thing for me if age is less than 60. See it too. I'm not going to put column, I'm not going to put anything, I'm just going to write something straight. Okay, do this for me if age is less than 60. Like, you provide the first condition or the first command, and you put the first condition after the first command. That is how it works. That is, do this thing for me if this thing is true. So that is exactly what it's going to do. So you say, print, you are a young boy if age is less than 60. So in this straight line one, you don't always, in this one that involves straight line, okay, you don't always use elif. Elif is not used. It's always else that you use. This is the only situation where you have the permission to use else, like more than once. Do you understand? But elif doesn't come in place here. So you have print, you are a young boy if age is this. Else, you put another if again. Okay? You say else, you put the second condition. Okay? Which is age is equal to 60. Okay, else, sorry, you put the second command.
Okay.
You put the second command, this like this. Else, print welcome to the club. Okay? Then you put if age. I think I have to reduce this thing, the zoom. With this now, are you still able to see the screen properly? Are you still able to see the text properly
Yes,
at this level?
you can see.
Okay,
I can see it.
Yes, sir.
okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, so you said, print, you are a young boy if age is less than 60. Else, print, welcome to the club if age is equal to 60. Then you now put else, print senior man. Okay. I just really hope this one is. I hope I've not made mistakes somewhere, because my head is doing me as if I've made a mistake. All right, let's run it anyway. Okay. So I'm going to lock this one out. So that we can just be sure the result is for this one. So this thing is still there. The initial value is still there. Age is equal to 65. All right. So Let's run it. And I've been pressed since. All right, you see, senior man. Okay? So you have, see how it's worked though. You provide the command. You provide the command, and then you provide the first condition. You now put else, and then you put the second command and the second condition. So you see the first command followed by the first condition. You now write else. The second command followed by the second condition. But it is if that you are going to use. So in this case now you use if many times and else many times. It is only when you are working on a straight line that you have the permission to use if many times and else many times. Do you understand? So you provide the first condition, the first command followed by the first condition. Otherwise, that is else, the next command followed by the next condition. Then you write else, then the last command. You know that one is just there. So if I change this thing to the last command, which is a result, which is a final result, okay? So yes, Chef Arms. You want to ask a question, Chef Arms?
Yes, that elif, we might decide to write if or elif, right?
No, it is only print. It's only if and else. If and else you use throughout when you are using this method. Elif has no place to stay in this method. In this method, it is only if and else, if and else, if else command, if else command, if else command. Or let me put it like this: command if else, command if else, command. That's the shortcut. Okay? That is, you use to put everything on a straight line. Use the syntax. The syntax is like this: command if else command if else then command. So that's how you do it. So if you want to practice it yourself, this is the format to use. Okay? To put everything on a straight line, use the syntax. Use the syntax, command if, you put the condition after the if. Then you said else, command. If, you put the condition again after the if. Then you write else, command. And then it continues like that on and on for as many. You can apply it to the example that we even did here. This one can apply to the example, only that it should be very long and you may not be able to, the screen will not be able to cover it. There was one of these days I tried to even break it into 2 lines, but it returned an error. It returned an error. So that shortcut is only handy when the thing you are writing is short, when it is small. Although it's if not because I'm explaining to you and I have to make you see what I'm doing. You know, whether the length doesn't matter, whether it goes long doesn't matter to me as far as I get what I want. You understand? But For you, I have to make you see my screen and see what I'm doing there. I would have used this particular example here, but you can do it on your own as a practice. Use the one-line method to run this code, to represent this code here. You can practice it yourself. Okay? So just don't cram too much. What you just do is follow this syntax: command if else, command if else, which means the first command followed by the first if and the condition. Then you now write else, the second command or the second instruction followed by the condition that will make the instruction to work. Okay? Then you write else again. Then you put the last results if all the previous conditions did not work. Again, I repeat, command, okay, followed by, that is, command is what you want Python to do for you, followed by if, and the condition upon which this command will work. Then you write else, you put the second command again, and then the condition upon which that second command will work. Then you write else, and then you put command again, and the condition in which that new command too will work. You write else until you reach the last part. You now say, okay, that time you now just put only command. Okay? Just like we put it here after this last else. After this else, we put only command. The same thing applies to this one too. Okay, so let's experiment whether our line of code is correct by changing the values here. So let's say the age is 60. The age is actually 60. By the time you run it, you are expecting the result saying welcome to the club. You see, welcome to the club. And then if you put the age 50 and then you run it, you are expecting your young boy. You see that you're a young boy, and then it works fine. Okay? So I believe I've been able to explain these single line statements clearly to you, your understanding. And then you can practice using this syntax. So your assignments for tonight, which you will do on your own to help yourself, is to try and apply it to this one. Try and apply it to what is on the second tab. I will send the link to the code. I will send it to you after the class. So try and use the one-line statements to run this command and see how it works for you. Okay? After every class, you guys should always practice. The practice is what will make you the thing that you learn to sink. Because sometimes you will believe that you have known it very well until you are given something to do. That's when you know that you have not known it. As you are in the class now, you are getting it. You are getting it. Yes, it's normal. But when I now give you an assignment, as simple as that assignment may be, you might find it difficult to do. Because you now have to be going back to the class again to check what did Mr. Iman do in that place safe? What did he write safe that I did not do right? Where did I get it wrong? What did I put that I'm not supposed to put? You now start checking. But when the class was going on, it will look very simple as I will do this one.
On that,
Mm-hmm. What did you say, Shafam?
no, sir, on that case, I'm kind of also having that issues when I have a live question that I'm trying to interpret like a conditional
Exactly.
statement that I'm
Exactly.
trying to.
As a programmer, you
Then
need
most
to
of
be
the
practicing with real life situation until
so
you,
I would even like us to have an example. Yeah.
of course, that is why you'll be having exams. That's why you'll be having assignments. That's why you'll be having tests. All these things will challenge you to go extra mile so that you can be able to practice and know your stand, know where you are, know the level you have reached. So you know that, okay, man, I still need to work more. Or, man, I have arrived. I can do anything. Okay, everything is about practice. If you are learning coding and you are not practicing it, I'm sorry, you are not learning anything. The day you want to practice, that's when you know that, oh boy, I still there behind you. So that's the essence of practice. But unfortunately, majority of you do not even have time to practice. Even to even attend class safe, it is grace of God. So that I will not vex again. Some of you just force yourself to attend class so that I will not vex. You understand? Well, the point is just that, when you are learning programming, you just must be ready for it. You must be. It's just as if you want to join military. Last year, I wanted to join the Nigerian Air Force, and because I have someone there, a very top officer, very very top. If I want to join like this, it's one hand. So, and I was with him, and he offered me, and he's like, don't you think we should join Air Force? It's not necessarily I should join, and I should be shooting gun up and down. I could be in a particular department when, maybe in their computer department, ICT departments, running tech stuff, giving them some crazy programming to run their things and all that. Okay, but the point is that all of you will go through training. I'm trying to arrive at a point. All of you will go through some rigorous training, regardless of the department you want to fall into. After the training, you can now share all of you that, okay, you are a photographer, you are a tailor. The reason why they train everybody is because when war starts, even photographer will follow them to the war, to be and be snapping the events of war. You understand? Doctor will follow them, doctor of Air Force will follow them to war, so that anybody that is injured on the war front, you will treat the person as the battle is going on. So you too, you will be armed. In case enemy is coming while you are trying to treat someone, you too, you must learn how to shoot. You understand it now? So I think the only people that are enjoying are those ones that will be controlling things from the office. So however the case may be, he made a statement to me. That statement he said, military is not something you just sleep and you wake up and you just say you just want to join. Or maybe because you are hungry, you are broke, you are looking for a job, you just want to join. No. He said if you want to join military, you have to make up your mind. It's a thing of the mind. So you see that all these people, all this army, all these soldiers, their morale is always very high. In fact, the more they are closer to death, the happier they are. They will be happy that they are going to war. Their morale is very high because that is, they have built up their mind. If they have not killed somebody, they are not yet complete. So they want to kill so that they can be able to prove that yes, they have arrived. That is the same way you are as a programmer. If you don't practice, you don't kill a code, you don't run something successfully, you don't feel fulfilled. So programming is not something you just sleep and you wake up and you just say, okay, you are broke. You are very broke, and because you are broke, you just want to say, now tech, now they make money now. You just want to enter. No. Even if that is the case, you must give yourself a lot of morale before you set in. Because at a time it could be so stressful, but you keep pushing on. Sometimes you write a code and the code will not work. You keep pushing on. I developed an app for someone. The app gave me mad ass headache. I was just staring at the computer for several hours like this. I cannot detect where the problem came from. I want to achieve something and I was looking for a way around it. At the time, I just had to leave the system. I just left the system. I stood up. I went away. I went to cool off my head. And I started playing with my children. They got back from school. I started playing with them. And then, after some time, I went back again to the code and I got it. One idea just dropped in my spirit. In fact, I even had to include God. I said, Holy Spirit, teach me. Holy Spirit. Oh, Holy Spirit, teach me. What do I do? Holy Spirit, teach me. And then the idea just dropped on my mind, and I put it, and the thing worked. I shouted. My children did not know why I was shouting. They joined me in the jubilating. They joined me. They don't know why I was shouting. You understand it now? So that is it. If you don't have that morale, the moment you are faced with that kind of challenge, you give up. You give up. You say, I beg you. I know they do again. Waiting. So, the reason why many Nigerians are afraid of going into coding is because they are afraid of challenges. They don't want anything that will challenge their thinking or their brain or their mind. They just want something they can do sharp and get money. So, all right. Sometimes I just try to chip in discussions because you will learn from the discussion. So I know I talk too much, but my talking is not useless. You will learn from it. So that's just it. Give yourself that high
Now you
morale.
don't talk too much. Oh.
People complain I talk too much. So, and I will tell them yes, because I'm a teacher.
No.
So, all right, so that's how it goes. And please, the thing I'm just trying to bring out is that practice. If you have not practiced, you will not know the level you are. Until you enter coding, until you start practicing, the same thing you just finished learning now. If I just give you, yeah, do this thing for me, you will make mistake. And you like, you cannot believe that you could make a mistake. But later on, mistake will not come again. Like, look at me. I am a very busy person. I work from morning till night. Even when all of you are sleeping, I'm still working. Like last night, after we finished the class, I was trying to upload the video on YouTube, but it was network issue that did not allow me to finish uploading it until early in the morning when I finally got it done. So the thing is that I don't really have much time to practice or to practice before I come and teach you or to rehearse my teaching. I don't have the time. I will just look at the time. Oh, it's time to teach. Maybe sometimes I'm just coming back from somewhere. Most of the time, I'm eating. I am eating while teaching you. In fact, it's while I'm teaching, they will bring food for me to come and to eat. So I don't really have that time to rehearse. But for me to be teaching you directly like this, it is because I have spent hours practicing before when I was learning. So I have spent hours practicing. The thing has entered my finger. It has entered my head. So I just come to the class and teach you. I don't rehearse. I just teach like that. That is why you see that sometimes I will make some few mistakes, and it's deliberate. I'm happy that I make mistakes in your presence. So it will make you also to know that yes, no, everybody in programming, everybody is fallible. Everybody can make mistakes. You understand? And then that's why I said your best friend in programming. If you are a programmer, your first best friend, your very first best friend is Google. Google, as in, don't joke with Google. Your closest friend in real life is not as close to you, as important to you as Google. When you become a programmer, you understand. No matter the level you have reached, no matter the stage you have reached in programming, you will still need Google, no matter what, because there are some times you get hooked. You have to find solution. By the time you type in you understand it now. You type in your this thing, and you see some other people who have similar issues, and then you get your solution from there, or you see something close to what you are looking for. You understand it now. So you cannot be 100% a programmer. Like you will be making mistakes. That one is bound. It's normal, very very normal. So mistake is not a sin in programming. Mistake is not something you should be ashamed of. The best programmers make mistake. But whenever I make mistake in your presence, learn the system or the tactics that I put into it to solve that problem. So it will also help you to learn how to undo such. Whenever you too fall into mistakes, you will see that when Mr. Emmanuel make mistake, this is what he did. This is how he did it. This is what he checked. This is what he checked. This is what he did. So it will also subconsciously you too begin to tap into that methodology of problem resolution. So it's part of learning. So when I make mistake in your presence and I'm trying to correct it, it's part of your learning. It's very, very part of the learning. It's the person that taught me too that told me all these things, and it is true. All right. So that's that as per that.
Honestly, what you said is very very true. Like this if else elif stuff has been giving me issue. This why. So this evening I was just like, wow, this stuff. I must know this stuff this evening, and I got it right. I've even sent you the stuff I did.
I saw it.
I've sent it to your
While I was talking, I was checking my WhatsApp. I saw that you sent me a message.
I was like, let me this stuff. I must get it today. I must get it. And lo and behold, you know. So
Exactly.
that's it. Practice,
It's
practice.
practice. So
That's the key.
it's practice. You really need to spend a lot of time practicing. Practice is the more you practice, the more that's when you can boast that you're a programmer. Because the more you practice, the less you make mistakes. The more you practice, the less you make mistakes. And that's how it goes. All right, so now we are done with that aspect. So we
That,
move
that's
on
the only
to
issue that me I have. When I
Yeah.
told you that, like,
When you told me that what?
so I said, sir, the only issue most times I have is that I said, can you hear me, sir?
No, your line is breaking. You said the only issue that you have most times is that what?
It's network. I said, can you hear me now, sir?
Yeah, I can hear
I
you.
said, I said, the issue I have is most times is like solving a real life question of
Mm,
this conditional branch,
mm,
like solving a life question of this conditional branch, which
mm,
I will also like if there is, if most time, if we have time, like if
mm.
can actually solve some questions that on it, like to solve some issues on it.
No problem.
That's the most time issues I have, like always simulating a problem like that,
After
real
I
life
finish
problem.
teaching you now, after I finish this class now, maybe we'll just do one real life situation, one random situation, and we'll treat it. Okay. So we move.
Yeah. Okay.
Coming. Somebody left and the person sent me a message. Let me just check what he said. I have to leave the class. I'll catch up with the videos and my apologies. Okay. All right. So let's get back to class. Wow. All right. So the next thing that we are going to treat now, do you know that I can still use, instead of me assigning a value here, I can still use input statements, okay? Okay, you want real life situation, right? Let's just quickly play with a situation. Let's just quickly play with a situation. I believe yesterday we learned, you were part of yesterday's class, even though you were not in the live class, you took part in you watched the recording. So therefore, you should be able to use the input statements. All right. So let's say inputs and if. Okay. So let's see how we can use the input statement and the if statement together. And so let's see how it goes. All right. Let's say in real life, I want to write a code. I want to design a program that we ask of your age, and if it asks of your age, depending on the age, the system will give you a response depending on your age group. I think I did that in the conditional branching class, the recorded class. Okay, so let's say if somebody's age is between, if someone's age is between 0 to 12, okay, the person is a child. If somebody's age is between 0 to 12, is a child, okay, all right. But if age is between 13 to 19, okay, the person is a teenager. Because tin end the person's number. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Then if age is between 20 to, let's say 20 to 35, the person is an adult, all right? And then if age, or let me say the person is a youth, a young adult, if age is between 36 to 45
50.
to 50, right? Okay. 36 to 50, the person is an older adult. Okay. So if age is 51 and above, the person is a senior citizen. Okay, if age is 51 and above, the person is a senior citizen. All right, so we want to write a program that will write a Python code, that will return the category, the age category of a user depending on the user inputs. All right, so that's that. Depending on what the user inputs in the code. So let me zoom this thing again for better view. Okay. So write a Python code that will return the age category of a user depending on the user inputs. So that's what we are doing now. Okay. All right. So to do this, what you do is that, Reginald, you want a real life situation, so I'm trying to come up with something random here, with which you
Yes,
can
sir.
apply this thing to. All
Yes,
right.
sir.
So as you can see now, in this case now, we are not even having a predefined value. We have to write the program in such a way that it will receive value from the user, and then the user will impute the value.
Yeah.
You understand it now? So I can even make the program to be a little bit more touch and interactive by putting some small efficacy. All right. For instance, I can say name is equal to
Yeah.
inputs. Please enter your name. Name is equal to input. Please enter your name. All right. That's that. And then you can say age is equal to
Age.
int, because you are dealing with number now. Okay, int inputs.
Yes.
Okay, then you open another bracket and then you put
Input. Okay. Good.
yeah, please
Yeah.
enter your age.
Age.
Okay, enter your age. And then, okay, I think that's all we need for now, for that part. So after the age and the name is entered, you can just make the program to, like, okay, interact with the user and say, just say print. You can say print. Let me just put one space. Print. You say welcome. You put the person's name. Welcome name. You are age years old. All right, good. So welcome name. Welcome name, you are age years old. Okay? They now say, let me just put an empty print there too. So you can now begin to provide the condition and say. So, as you are writing the program, you'll be imagining the outcome in your head. So that will help you to know,
Yes.
to know what to do or how to code. You'll be imagining the outcome that, okay, fine. If the person has entered name and the person has entered age, what should come up to the screen? Then you say, okay, fine, let me just put a print statement that will welcome the person. You say, okay, welcome Richard, you understand, welcome Reginald, you are so years old. All right, okay, but I would not like everything to be too clumsy, to be too close to each other. So in that case, I'm going to put space. And that is why I'm putting this one here, this empty print statement to provide space. Then you can now come to line number 13 and say, okay, fine. Now it is time to specify condition. So you can say, okay, if age is, you have this in 0 to 12. Okay?
Yeah.
So if age is, we are going to use mathematics in this case. Okay? Instead of you to say,
Yes.
if age is greater than,
Sorry, Regina, can you
Okay.
mute your mic? Can Regina mute his mic?
okay, mute your mind, please. Okay. You can say if age is greater than or equal to 0. You understand? Like, okay, let's say we want to put mathematics. You will say age is greater than or equal to 0, but what? But less than or equal to 12. Okay? You can say if age is greater than or equal to 0. Okay? Or age is less than or equal to 12. Please, take what am I trying to say? Age must be 0 to 12, right? It can be equal to 0 exactly, which means it's inclusive of 0, or it can be greater than 0, but it should not be greater than 12. It can be up to 12 or less than 12. It can be exactly 0 or greater than 0. Do you get my points? Do you get my scope? Do you get what I'm trying to explain? It can be up to 12. It can be up to 12. It can be up to 12, but must be less than 12. That's why we have less than or equal to 12. And it can be exactly 0 or greater than 0. That's why we wrote greater than or equal to 0. You understand? It can be greater than 0 or exactly 0. That's why we put greater than or equal to 0. So we just try to use age to represent the range of possibilities. Now, you know that if I say Ima is greater than Tunji in mathematics, or in real life, you know that it is still the same thing as for me to say Tunji is less than Ima. True or false? For me to the moment in inequality, the moment you switch the operand, the direction of the inequality must change. Do you get that? So immediately, because I want to use a single age for these two conditions. I want to use a single variable for the two conditions. That's why I'm teaching you. I'm explaining all these things to you. So just follow me. So which means that I can switch this one to the other side by saying, 0 is less than or equal to
It's less than
age. I can say, I said age is greater than or equal to 0. I can also turn it the other way around. I can switch it and say 0 is less than or equal to age. Okay? And then I can also switch this one too. Or I may not switch this one, I can leave it the way it is. Just for age to be in the middle. In a nutshell, what I'm trying to achieve is that I want to switch this thing to the other side. Since we know that, okay, the age, to represent this place, we are representing all ages. We are representing all ages that is from between 0 to 12. That is all ages that is greater than or equal to 0, but less than or equal to what? 12. That's what we are trying to represent. That is, we are trying to represent all ages that are greater than or equal to 0, but less than or equal to 12. Okay? If it pass 0 or make it be equal to 0, but in less than what? Less than 12, or can be exactly equal to 12. So that's it. It can be less than 12 or exactly equal to 12. So now, what I want to do is now I want to switch this one to the other side so that I can have something like this. I can have this one here. You see, if the moment I say age is greater than or equal to 0, I can also say 0 is less than or equal to age. So this one is what I'm going to use. Cut it, put it here. Remove this age. Now we have age, so just turn it to only 1, and then we are good to go. I finished what I want to do. Do you understand what I just did here? If it's giving anybody problem, let me see. Let me hear you. I said if 0 is less than or equal to age, which is less than or equal to 12, that's the condition. Are you confused? Do you understand? Can I continue? Is it clear? I only switched this one. I switched it. We had 2 before. The first thing is that age is greater than or equal to 0. But that same age is less than or equal to 12. This is what we had before. Age is greater than or equal to 0. You understand? Then also age is less than or equal to 12. That is the meaning of this thing. We are looking for all ages from 0 and above. Okay? But it has to be less than 12 or exactly equal to 12. That's what we mean there. All ages, okay, greater than or equal to 0, but less than or equal to what? 12. So I now switch the one on this left hand side. I flipped it over so that instead of age standing here, age will be on the right, so that I can serve both this place and this place together. So we have only one instead of having 2 age. You know, this is 1 age, this is 1 age. But since we are talking about age, and it's the same age we are talking about, we change it to 1. And the process of changing it to 1 is that this guy has to switch to the other side. But the moment it turns to the other side like this, as it's just turning, the direction of the inequality too, we also what? We also switch. So if you say age is greater than 0, it means the 0 is less than age. Just like I said, if I say Ima is greater than Tunji, it means that what? Tunji or Tijani or anybody is less than Ima. You understand? So if age is greater than 0 or equal to 0, it means 0 is less than or equal to age. Then I now join it to this one on the other side. So that is what I just did. Python understood what I did. Python understands that I am trying to indicate all ages greater than or equal to 0, but less than or equal to 12. That's what Python understands what I'm trying to indicate, and to do exactly what I want for me. So which means that if the age is like this, then do this thing for me. What am I going to do? What do I want Python to do? I want Python to display you are a child. Just say print you are a child. All right? And if you want, so you do the second one too. Okay? So what's that second one now? We are looking for all ages between 13 and 19. All ages between 13 and 19. That's what we are looking for next. So, Shafam, can you tell me how we are going to represent this?
Yeah. If 13 is less than or equal to age.
Okay. less than or equal to
age
19.
is less than or equals to
19. So you just say print you are a teenager. All right, then you can do another one again. Oh, sorry, this one is going to be elif. You only have one if.
Elif, yes.
Sorry, this one is elif. Is elif. So elif, you have 20 to 35. We follow the same way. So Reginald, what am I going to write here? Reginald? Is Reginald there?
Yes, I'm here, sir.
Okay, so what am I going to write?
25 is less than equal to age. Less than or equal to age. That's better equals to 25. Wait, 20 is it's supposed to, the first one is supposed to be 20. 20 is less than equal to age, right?
You're the one that told me. Oh. Okay, all right.
Now, I was not looking at the question. I needed to.
Okay, so you say
The other one is
print.
25, not 35. 25.
It's 35 actually. It's 35. It's 20 to 35.
20, 35. 35, okay.
So here, you just say you are a young adult. All right, and then I think we are done with all the condition. Okay, one more. So we have elif. Elif 36 is less than or equal to age, then less than or equal to 50. And then you have this. Okay. Now the last one is going to be a little bit different. Okay, but before then, let's put the condition. We have print. You are a what did you even put this after young adults, older adults? You are an older adult. Okay, so then the last one is just going to be else, because if someone doesn't fall into all these categories, it means the person is from 51 above. If you don't fall into any of all this, it means you are from 51 above. So you don't need to put any condition. Just use else statement and say print you are a senior.
adult.
Mute your mic. Oh. So you say you are a senior citizen. I think we are good to go now. All right. So we are going to run the program. Everything is set. What is it? Say enter your name. So I'm going to enter the most active guy, Shefam, and then say please enter your age. Let's say Shefam is 30, and then you see the way it brought the result. It says, welcome Shefam, you are 30 years old. You are a young adult. Okay? By the virtue of this program, so it works fine. Then let's run it again. Assuming Tosin is here now, enter Tosin. So enter your age. Let's say Tosin is 23. And then it says, welcome Tosin, you are 23 years old. You are a young adult. All right? So let's say you run something now. Your name, let's say Ima. and enter your age, let's say 50, 57, and they said, welcome Ima, you are 57 years old, you are a senior citizen. So everything is working fine. You understand it now? So that's just it. Reginald, this is one of the real life situations, one random thing that came to my mind, and we developed this sharp, and we got our answer. So with the knowledge of whatever it is that you have gained so far, you could look for some simple, but if you cannot get, I will look for stuffs for you to do. I will just give all of you guys some assignment. Okay, fine. Carry out these tasks based on what you have learned before, and then you should be able to do that. You understand?
Better.
Because you are still a learner, you might not really be able to figure out any real life situation that you can apply it to. But because at my stage now, I can be able to I can relate with different things and say, okay, fine, do this, do this, do this. I know that with the knowledge of what I've taught you before, you can be able to achieve this one you're going to do. Okay, you might need a combination of all the things you've been doing since. Look at this now, for us to be able to, the topic that we are doing is if condition, if, elif, and else. But input entered it. An input is a different topic entirely on its own. You see that along the line to typecasting enter it, because you have to cast a age which is coming as a string. We have to cast it into what? An integer. Otherwise the program will return an error. Because whenever you use input statements, anything coming out from input statements always comes out as a string.
It's a string.
So you must, if you now want it to behave as a number, you have to convert it. You have to do typecasting. You convert it from, so as the string is coming out like this, just say, that kind of changes the number. Say, okay, yes sir. So just change the number using this command, int. Okay, so it just change to an integer from there. And then that's how it works. All right, so, well, let's just go to the last, is it last or second to the last? So what I want to teach you here now is nested if, how to use nested if. That is an if statement inside another if statement. And I think I also explained it in one of those videos in the class. Wow. So, all right, so, what I told you earlier, it's like coding has to do with morale. It has to do with morale. You understand? If you don't have the morale, and you just want to enter coding because of they told you that money is there, if you meet a particular challenge, you run away. It begins to get very difficult, just like you joining military just because the government will be paying you salary every month. But the moment you see war, you run away, or you see anything, or you see training, ordinary training, you say, man, I never knew that this is the way it will be. I'm going. But if you have had the morale from the beginning, the tougher the thing gets, even the happier you are. As the thing is getting tougher, you are even happy that yes, it's getting tougher. You will have this resilience, you will have this ability to withstand anything, because it's just like this joke that people do online. That man that says he doesn't want peace, he wants war. He says he wants war always. You understand? So that is how it is. A passionate programmer always wants problem, always. Because the more the problem he solves, the happier he gets. So when you see problem, you're happy. You make sure that you get to the end of that problem. You don't give up. The moment you just end that problem like this, you will celebrate yourself. In fact, your brain will celebrate. You know that one, go feel hold you down again. You are now better than that stage. So nothing like that again will ever give you problem anymore. It means you have gotten a pass mark, then you move on. So the more the challenges you come across, the happier you get, the better you get. That is the spirit of a programmer. Not that you see problem, you run away and say, this one cannot enter my head. This one, no, I cannot take this one. No. So that's it. So I'm not so surprised in the break into tech, the very first group that we formed. We had almost 400 students. But out of that, the 400, only about 90 students applied for the continuation of the program. And out of the 90, only about 25 of you which later grew into like 30, applied for the premium active. Out of the 30 students that applied for the premium active, isn't only 6 or 7 of you that I'm seeing now. See the way the thing is from 400 to about 6 or 7. So it shows that it's only this group of you. When I put a message that I'm angry, I'm this and that, you remember, okay, you see that only some of you message me in a private chat. I remember the kind of message Reginald sends to me was like, no, I must carry you people to the promised land. You cannot afford to stop halfway. This one. Say, okay, good. That is only the circle of people that are willing to continue. So the only thing is just that the smaller the number, the bigger the money for each person, and that's where the problem is now. Say you should come and pay 200,000 and now you start crying. Okay, bye. All right, so let's get back to class. All right, so I must finish this class in the next 15 minutes. So anywhere we stop. So nested if. Nested if means like you have an if statement inside an if statement existing in an if statement, and it is very possible. So you use it when you have some kind of crazy condition. When you know before you get pregnant, you must you get what I'm trying to say. Before a woman will get pregnant, something must happen before the pregnancy, and before that thing happens, something must have also happened too. Like for instance, now it starts from toasting. Then after the woman has accepted your proposal, or probably wedding, you did wedding, something will not happen. Then something will not lead to pregnancy. So some cases are like that in programming, that certain things will only happen if some things have happened already. And then that's if some things that has happened too will now have his own. He will now have his own team. Will now have his own if and else and other things statements too. So it is possible to have an if statement inside another if statement. We call it nested if in Python programming. We call it nested if. You understand? So how do you handle such kind of stuff? Is what I just want to use this session to explain. I think if I'm done with this one, okay, we are good to go. If you need any extra information, you go back to the lecture. Thank God they are short videos, so you can always check them out. Okay. All right. Example Omole Sheba Insin. Okay. There was in the other class. Okay, in the recorded class, I think I did an example. The example is like, okay, somebody will pass an exam if only, okay, let me provide the conditions, just like I did earlier. Pass mark is from 50 upward. Pass mark is from 50 upwards. Okay? Pass mark is 50 upwards. Anyone who score less than 50 fails. From 50 to 59 is a credit. That is C. Okay. Then from 60 to 79. To 69 is a what? It's a good. Okay, it's very, very good. And that very good means B. Okay? From 70 upward. From 70 upwards is an excellent score. And that is an A. All right? Then the task is that write a Python code that can indicate a student's score or grade. A student's grade once the score is entered. You're writing a Python code that can indicate a student's grade when the score is entered. How do we run that code? If you can see here now that before we even start to think whether the person score C, B, or A, that person must have first pass, and the pass mark is 50. Before we even start to say we want to start checking other conditions, the person must have first scored 50. If the person does not score 50, the person has failed. In this kind of condition now, whereby something happens only after something has happened, then if the nested if works fine, the nested if is the best to apply for this kind of condition. A condition whereby something will happen if only after something else has happened. You use nested if. Okay? So let's code it. Let's code it. Mr. Falalu, are you there? Mr. Falalu. Was it go okay, Nisha? All right. All right, no problem. Is Shafama and Regina still there with me?
Yes,
I'm here,
me
sir.
too.
Okay, so I'm practically teaching only two of you like this now. Voila. 10 minutes to go.
Okay.
So if I want to run this program now, this is exactly what I'm going to do. I'll first use an input statement that will collect the value from the user. Okay, let me say let's say name is equal to inputs. Please enter
A mark.
your name. That's name. Then you can say score is equal to int. I will not use int now, we use floats because it can be decimal. You understand? Somebody can score 220 and a half. He can score 52 and a half. But the problem now is that I did not include that possibility here. What if somebody score 59.1? Agweni, let's use an integer. Okay, so we use integer, and then we can say, please enter your score. So let's enter your score.
You omitted the input.
Thank you. Inputs. Okay. Or let's say enter the subject. Please enter your subject or course. All right. Okay. So now what you're going to do for me here now is okay. The next part of the program is okay. We are going to collect the person's name, the subject, and then the score. What are we going to do with it? We begin with the condition that okay, if the score is less than 50, if the score is anything less than 50, let's put greater than 50 first, because that's if the score is greater than 50, then you put the condition. You now put another if statement under it. You know that for anything to qualify for this place, for anything to qualify for this next if statement, it means the person has scored more than 50. If the person did not score more than 50, the person will not belong to, the person will provide another thing entirely, another condition for the person, which means the person fails.
Or 50 itself. Is it not from 50
no,
and above?
Yes, 50 and above. That's greater than or equal to 50.
Equals to 50, yeah.
That's it. Thank you. So it must include 52, 50 and above. So greater than or equal to 50. So if the score is greater than or equal to 50, okay, then you now say, okay, fine, we want to start considering other conditions, which means the person will don't pass 50, now in these conditions, we won't go down for. Otherwise, if you don't reach 50, then you forget about this condition and move to the else or whatever it is that you put there. So if the score is now that provided that person is now greater than 50, we now start to check all these things. Okay, 50 to 59. That's if score is if 50 is less than or equal to score less than or equal to 59. Okay.
49.
Yeah. So
49.
is it 49? No, 59. No. Anything that we are doing here is for the people that passed. We now want to categorize them according to their score, to tell them the grades they have. So it's only someone that passed that can enter here, which means provided that the score is greater than 50, only on that condition will anybody come to this area to come and do anything. Otherwise, the program will just go to the next thing. So now, if 50 is less than score, then what do I do? You see that there is another indentation again, which shows that what I'm writing here is for this particular if, and what I'm writing here belongs to this one. So the moment you put column, the thing will shift, it will indent to tell you that okay, what I'm doing here belongs to the closest if statements.
Sorry, I'm a bit confused. But you said we can only have one if.
That is why we are doing nested if. You can see that this if is not directly under the first if. It is an indent away. The meaning of nested if means that an if statement that is inside an if statement. That's the meaning of nested if.
Okay.
You understand?
Understood. Yeah.
So that is, we are creating an if statement under an existing if statement. You can see that the indentation is different. You see the place this one is positioned is different. You understand? which shows that it is under the rule, under the kingdom of this first if statement. It is working for the first if statement, but it's a nested if. You understand?
Understood.
So assuming that
Yeah.
it started from the wall, we cannot have two ifs together, standing on the same wall. One must senior the other. So this one is the senior of this one now. That's why there is law and order. Otherwise, there will be a conflict, and the program will the program will crash. The code will crash. It will return an error. So that's it now. So we have this if statement under this if, nested if. So now this one now has its own people. That is its own command, which is print that is working under it. So they now put what you want it to display there and say, okay, if score is less than or equal to 15, just say you can say hello.
Made
They
the
put
credit.
name, hello name, your score, sorry, your score in, they put the course or the subject. Is, you cannot put this thing there, score. So just like saying, hello, Reginald, your score in physics is whatever the score is. You understand? So I believe you understand it at this stage now. You know what I'm doing. Reginald, what's the question?
But I thought this place now we're supposed to be printing the condition that was asked that we were given to print, like to mention that the score is
I'm about to
approved
do
or
that in the next line.
the person is
I'm about to do that
okay.
in the next line.
Okay.
You got an, you now put an A, you got a C, have you? You got a C. So that's it. That's credits. You got a C. I want to include a bracket inside this thing, but I don't want the brackets to look like another bracket. So it will, anyway, since it's inside the quotes, it will not affect anything. Just say you got a C. Maybe you can put it there as what? Credits. And then you close the bracket. You got a C, which is credits. Credits. Right? You can test run your program at this stage. You can just test it with a true value. You can test run it first to see whether you are on track. So let's test run it. You run it, enter your name. You have, let's say, Ima. Please enter the subject or course. Let's say physics. It says, please enter your score. Let's say 90. I've not made a provision for that one. Okay, so let me run it again. I've only made a provision for credits, which is any score between 50 to 59. So let's say John, enter your subject or course. Let's say physics. And then enter your score. Let's say 56.
50.
So it says, yeah, hello John, your score in physics is 56. You got a C credit. You see that? So you can put a space here. Uh, okay. I just wanted a space to be there in that final, So, so that one is set to right, which means you are still on track. You can see that this is a nested if now. We have an if inside an if statement. So this one is you use this kind of coding when a condition has to be met before another condition can be considered. Okay. So let me put it this way. You say the nested if statement can be used when a condition can be used when a condition must be met before another condition is considered. Must be met why is my system freezing? When the condition must be met before another condition can be considered. So you use the nested if. The nested if statement can be used when a condition must be met. So for instance now, before you can start even knowing whether somebody got a C or somebody got a B or somebody got an A, the thing is that the person must first pass. The condition is that according to this question, the condition is that 50 is, pass mark is 50 upward. So whoever doesn't get up to 50 is automatically counted as failure. So in order to code that, to do that kind of code, which means that this first condition must be met. If the condition is met, which is that the person scored 50 and above, then we now begin to consider the other conditions, which means the score that the person must have to get a C, or the score the person must have to get a B, or the score the person must have to get an A. I believe you grabbed my explanation that way.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this condition must be met first before the code will now before the interpreter will now enter this area and start checking the code.
Sorry, we can now use else for people that didn't meet up to the pass mark, which is 50, Abby.
For people that didn't meet up to 50, I'm still going to that. I'm still getting to
Yeah.
that. You
I'm
use
just saying,
it is else, yes, definitely else, but the else is not going to be under this nested if. The else is going to be under
Yes, it's standing if.
the one on the chief if. Yes, that's the head if.
Okay.
So now you have done this one. Then you can now have your else or elif here. Elif. The next one is 60 to 69. So elif 60 is less than equal to score, then less than equal to 69. So do this for me. We print so that there will be space. Then you have let's copy this one. Hello name, subject is this. Okay. Then we just edit this one. And you say, instead you say you got a B. Which is like very good. Then you do the last one, which is an else. That is else if score is what? Greater than or equal to 70. But it must be less than or equal to 100 though. Man, I just remember something. You know that somebody cannot score more than 100. So if you say if score is greater than or equal to 70 and somebody now puts 500 there, it will still tell the person his score excellence. So you are supposed to put a situation whereby if somebody puts something more than 100, it will correct the person that you put something wrong. Yes? Reginald?
Sorry, sir. Is it supposed to be else or still an elif?
No. I wanted to make it an else. I now started thinking of some other possibilities. Some other possibilities like, okay, what if someone now enters a number that is above 100? And that should be an invalid input. So what should you do if the person enters a number above 100? That should be an invalid input, right? So you need to put all that into consideration too. So I'm going to do something like this. I'm going to say if score is less than this one is going to stay the way it is. The one I'm going to alter is this one. Okay, I'm going to use an elif. I'm going to use an elif here. So elif score is this. So just copy all of this. Copy all of this. Okay. And then you paste. Just edit. You got an A. Got an A. So this time around it's going to be excellence, right? Okay. So we now have our else. Else,
Yeah.
if the person put a score
Greater than 100.
Greater than 100, this one is going to be 70 less than or equal to
To 100.
to score
100.
Oh.
less than or equal to 100. But if 70 is less than or equal to score less than or equal to 100, do this thing for me. Okay. So else, if the score is greater than 100 for any reason in this life, If the score is greater than 100 for any reason, print
Print invalid.
you have entered an invalid, or just say print, please enter a score between 0 and 100. So that's what the Python will tell the person. Now, we are done with all the 50 and above score. Okay? Just come here, go back to the original if, the king if statements. Yes, Regina, what's the question?
So, sorry, sir. I thought an else. I don't know if I'm wrong. I thought an else doesn't come with a condition, a statement like a condition.
Oh, that's true. This is the second time I'm making this mistake this night. Anyway, I would have actually corrected it because it will bring out an error. I was just distracted. Sorry. Else, we know that if the thing doesn't fall to any of this range, it means that the thing is above 100 automatically. Common sense. Okay. If the thing does not fall between 50 to up to this 100, it means that any other value that comes definitely is a value above 100. So you don't even need to put any condition again, just put else. And moreover, else does not carry condition. Else only carries a resolution that if after all the previous conditions are still failed, then do this. So if somebody doesn't fall within 70 to 100 and doesn't fall within all of the other previous scores, too, it means the person scored above 100. So just leave it like that as else. So thanks for that correction, for that observation and correction, because it's not supposed to be there. Else is not supposed to carry condition, like I've said since the beginning of this class that we talked about it. All right, man, I don't feel sleepy. Shit.
Then sorry, I think between 0 and 100 is not up to 100 though. I think it should be from 0 to 100.
Please enter a score.
From 0 to 100.
Okay. Because between 0 and 100 may not
And
include
100
0.
is not 100.
Okay. From 0 to 100. Man, this guy needs rest too. Please enter a score between a score from 0 to 100. All right. So we are done with all that part. The next thing is to come here. And then you can put
0
else.
to.
You can just put else. Okay. I just put else. So what's the else? Print. Oga Parkwell. All right. So I think we are done. So let's run the program. So let's enter the name Abu. Physics. Score. Let's say the person scored 30. You say, Oga Parkway, you don't fail you. You understand? Let me just put an empty print here too. Okay. Enter the subject or course. Enter score. Let's say the person scored 78. It says, hello, and your score in physics is 78. You got an A. Excellent. You see that? So let's say we run the program. Say Juliet. Enter subject of course. Let's say maths. And then enter your score. So let me just put 120. And then it says please enter your score from 0 to 100. And try again. I can use \n here so that the thing can enter another line. So if you run it, enter name, Kabu, enter subject, maths, enter score, 300. So you see, it says error. Please enter a score from 0 to 100 and try again. You see that the next thing that I wrote here started on a new line because of this \n that I put there. So what I wrote here was there, but from this \n it pushed it to a new line. Then you say please enter all of these things and then it appears there. You understand? So that's how it goes. So we have tested every part of it and it's working excellently well. This is nested if. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the class. For more information, contact Google. Pradesha Paradu
Thank you.
Sataya, Lebreketemu Soto, Labrahilish Kataya, Dabarosi
Thanks so much,
Hendas.
sir.
My angel
Thanks
is
so much.
around. This is 12:21. I'm supposed to be blowing. I'm teaching. Barosh Kaparada Sata. We are going to sleep and sleep. You all sleep well, learn well, know well. And any
Emustel,
money, scholar,
hello.
you can pay me. Yes.